Welcome to the second episode of the second series of the Tessa Talks To podcast. In this series, we're focusing on the relationship between music and travel and what music means to you. Today, I'm delighted to be here with my guest, Jane Hanson, who is a project leader, inspirational teacher and a writer-broadcaster. She is also director of the Women of the Year Lunch and founder and director of One Day One Choir, a global peace project.
It's a bit of a long title, isn't it? The Global Choral Project for Peace.
Well, yes, and your audio many facets and titles. I mean, you've done so much with music and peace and travel. What's been your most memorable experience of music globally?
Do you know, I've been really lucky to have so many incredible experiences with music while I've been travelling. I could tell you endless stories and it would fill 10 podcast series.
Go for one. Choose one.
I can't choose one, I'll have to choose two. Because one wasn't actually singing. One incredible experience I had was waking up in Damascus one morning at 5 o'clock with all the imams chanting people to prayer. And there must have been dozens and dozens, and the sound was magical, bouncing off the walls, and I thought I'd gone to heaven. It was absolutely incredible as an experience, and I didn't have my recording kit there.
Sometimes it's best just to remember it.
It was absolutely wonderful in my head, so I think that's one of my most special ones.
And what's the other?
Well, singing with children in Soweto is probably one of my favourite experiences.
Wow.
In the school next door to where Mandela grew up and where he sent his children. And these children who walk miles and miles barefoot to school, but sing to learn their lessons, sing at lunchtime. It's quite emotional, actually.
Yeah, I'm
really
sure.
Wonderful. Yeah.
What? Tell me a little bit more about that. What's the power that music can bring to learning through song?
Well, I think it's easier to remember things with song. You know, I don't know about you, but lots of people I know, young people, people of all ages, can remember songs and song words. But if you ask them to say the same words without music, we'd be a bit stuck.
Yeah.
So there's something about singing that helps it to stick in your brain. So not only do they sing songs, which is obviously the tradition in South Africa anyway, they have a wonderful singing and choral tradition.
The oral tradition.
The oral tradition, beautiful choral music. But they were literally using song to learn projects. So they'd all been sent home to learn about insects or lorries or France, and they'd all come in with their little songs that they were singing about insects.
I won't ask you. Well, give us an example if you.
No, I knew I shouldn't have told you that. So they would come in, one little group. They were marvellous. They were only 5 and 6 year olds, and there were 50 of them in the classroom. I mean, that's how big the class is. And they would go, insects have got 6 legs. But they'd sing much better than me.
Great.
But they were really fun.
Yeah.
They were really fun.
My 6-year-old's learning about insects at the moment. Maybe I'll encourage that.
Do a
yeah.
song.
Well, like you say, it
you
can bring in so many different facets and so much creativity into their learning, and it's fun. You know,
Right.
and when things are fun and creative and playful, that's when you remember.
Always. I mean, I teach maths is one of the things I teach. I mean, teach lots of things. But there's some really cool sort of rap songs for your tables. And don't ask me to sing those because I didn't make them up. But I have lovely, 8, 9-year-olds coming to me singing the 6 times rap. And music is a great way to learn things. It really helps a lot.
We've just celebrated Make Music Day on June the 21st, which is a global day where I think 150 countries now celebrate music making and making it. All the events are free, and it's about amateur music, the love of music. And we were there at the final events in the Scoop, watching drummers, percussion, singers, all sorts of music making. What do you think is the most powerful way to bring people together? Because that globally has really connected 150 countries.
Well, I think music is the most powerful way. I mean, what else can you think of that unites people through all generations, all genres? Doesn't matter what your taste in music is. It doesn't matter what your style is. You know, they had fantastic whole range of music, but it is music itself because it has very special qualities, and humans are built to make music and in fact be an instrument themselves. You know, we don't have a singing voice without purpose because we've got a speaking voice.
And that's perhaps why you've chosen singing as the heart of One Day One Choir Global Peace Day on September the 21st. It's a project which you've galvanised an incredible, inspiring amount of organisations, individuals, the Dalai Lama. Tell me more about that project.
Well, it literally came as a vision. I don't know why, but it did. I would say in 2013.
Okay.
And I'd been quite traumatised by what was going on around the world, particularly in Syria and what was happening there, and in other countries, in Africa. We'd had the riots here in Britain.
2013, yeah.
And I was literally waking up with this vision, this idea that I had to do something. And I thought, what can I do? You know, what can one person do? But I've sung all my life or been part of choirs. My parents were in choirs. I sing in the London Philharmonic. I used to be the chairman there. And I thought maybe singing, maybe we can just get people to sing. It's simple, it's free. We all have a voice. It doesn't have to be a great voice. And, you know, singing unites people, and it's done in every culture and in every country. So I thought maybe just if we could get people to sing, to raise their voices for peace on World Peace Day, people might like it, and it seems to have struck a chord with people.
And is there one song that everybody sings to unify together? Is there sort of, do you suggest a song, a peace song?
Well, we thought about that, but I don't want to dictate what people should sing, because different cultures and different countries and different people have their own ideas, and I wanted people to use what mattered to them, what songs from their culture, songs that meant something to them in terms of unity and peace. But we do also have a few songs on the website that we've been given that people can use if they can't think of something.
And that's One Day One Choir.
On the One Day One Choir website, yeah.
And where's the furthest away community who have become a part of One Day One Choir? Is it Alaska, North Pole, South Pole? How far are we talking
Well,
to
I
reach?
haven't got to the North Pole yet, unless the penguins are singing.
I'm sure they
Are there penguins in the North Pole? But Australia and New Zealand, South America, you know, Russia, Japan, pretty as far as you can reach around the world, we have some people singing.
So important, so powerful to really galvanise that sense of peace, that sense of unity, and that sense of global connection. So One Day One Choir is currently, I'd say, a movement. I mean, it's a one lady movement at the moment, but with galvanising all sorts of different enthusiastic supporters and partners. Where do you see One Day One Choir going?
What I'd really like to do with it, or it to become, because it's not mine, I'm just the channel of it, is for it to be something that people become aware of and take on, that they do naturally. They know it's Peace Day and they say, let's sing. Sounds very simple, but for example, just in a school assembly, do you know, if all schools acknowledge and recognise Peace Day, not just to say, oh, it's Peace Day, but then to think about what peace means to them and take actions throughout the year. And this is personal peace, local peace and global peace.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's incredible. And like you say, it's what peace means to them and what home means to them potentially, and the connection between the two. As you say, peace has so many different meanings to so many different people, depending on their culture and their community. In the same way, I guess, that home does. I've just come back from Portugal, where they have 7 different words for the word, our word, home, 7 different meanings. And I think that's something to really take on, and you presumably want to empower people to really take on their own meaning of the word peace. And when you're travelling, what do you miss about home?
Do you know, I have to confess, I don't miss a lot in a way, because I absolutely love travelling, and I'm in my element travelling, and I'm in my element in other countries, and being with other people and learning new things, so that's great. And if I really told the truth, I miss my really nice pillows.
Oh, Jane.
That I really miss. Just soft pillows to lay my head on. But
Yeah, there's home comforts.
Home comforts, but I mean, I feel very at home within myself, so I think when I'm travelling, I'm just sort of taking my home with me, because I am my home, even though I have a lovely house. Yeah.
So what would you say are the 3 most powerful ways that singing can unite people?
Well, first of all, it's something that we can all do. Every culture, every continent has singing. They sing for their traditions, they sing to celebrate, they sing when they're sad, they sing to their children, or at least I hope they still sing to their children, because it's really important. And playing music to them, or putting your iPod on or something, is not as important or vital as singing to your child, because they feel the vibrations, they feel the bond. And singing, when you sing, it promotes oxytocin, which is the chemical of love and bonding.
And trust.
And trust. And so it's really vital. I remember Nigel Osborne telling me when he was working in Bosnia on a war project in a refugee camp that one of the children said to him, "If you sing to me, you're probably not going to hurt me."
Oh, wow.
Really powerful
It's
stuff.
really powerful.
But it's really important. We need to sing to our children. We need to sing with our children and with each other, because it bonds people more quickly and more powerfully than any other activity. And it also sets all the feel-good chemicals off, and it's good for our breathing and everything else. But also, when we sing together, our hearts begin to beat at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot of research currently out there about that, and it's intergenerational in a community. It's just a quick, easy, very powerful and immediate way for generational connections and bonds to be
continued, just to be carried on, really. I mean, and it is, if you think about it, you know, we have these two voices. We have a speaking voice and a singing voice. Well, why? And if you go into a room of 100 people and they're all chatting, you can't even hear yourself think. You can't hear anybody else in the corner. When those people sing, you suddenly have this amazing harmony and unity, and that you create something wonderful. And even if you're singing a different line, you have to listen to the other people and fit in with them, and it doesn't matter if the languages are different. So singing has this magic that really pulls communities together and connects them and bonds people and makes them feel happier and healthier. And it's all scientifically proven.
It is, and more being researched. And it's something you're very much a part of, and something that is always bigger than yourself, which is, I think, the most important thing to always be around.
But it also comes from your inner self. It comes from your soul. You know, music comes from a really important place. So it helps you to be yourself, to access your inner true self, which is also really important. And
to share that as well, that part of you, which is often quite hard to reach.
Yes, to share, because often, you know, I meet mothers now who say, "Oh, I don't sing to my children. I'm too embarrassed. I'm not good enough. I'm not sharing this." But they have to. It's really crucial, and that's what it's about, your inner self being shown and shared with others.
Yeah. So what other ways would you say music can travel?
Well, music can travel around the world. It reaches all kinds of cultures. You know, I was interviewed recently by the Voice of Islam about how important music is, and it doesn't matter what your culture is and how different it is. And it does travel through generations. It's how people pass on their stories, their culture. I remember the actor James Nesbitt on his Desert Island Discs saying how he doesn't really sing to his children, but he actually teaches them the songs of his Irish culture to his children that his grandmother taught him, that her grandmother taught her.
So it passes down the generations.
It passes down the generations. It travels through time and through all cultures. It even travels through space, and we could get onto the music of the spheres, but maybe not now.
Galactic
singing. Music, but yes, heavenly harmony.
Yeah. So Jane, tell me another example, another story about music and community and the power that music's had to bring a community together.
I think there's a wonderful one in Bolivia, from Bolivia, or in fact this also happened in other countries in South America in the 17th century when the Spanish conquistadors were coming over and the Jesuit priests came. They decided to conquer through music instead of through war. And the Jesuit priests settled in these tiny farming communities in the indigenous villages, and they taught the people to sing and to make violins. So, you know, there's a story now that in Bolivia, 90% of the countryside people are farmers and 10% are musicians. And so what they did was they brought their Baroque music with them, and obviously they can sing, they had their own traditional songs, but they taught them Baroque music, which for some reason appealed to them. So it had order and calm, and this just spread throughout Bolivia. And then of course time passed and this was lost, but 30 or 40 years ago a Jesuit priest went back to Bolivia to work there in the churches, and they told him they had a secret, and he had no idea what the secret was, and once they came to trust him, they revealed that they had this stash of music from 300 years ago.
Physical manuscripts.
Physical manuscripts that they had kept of music. And he was so excited that he contacted friends, and now they've created a music festival, an early music festival in Bolivia, which is incredible.
Well, next stop, Bolivia.
I think so.
Thank you very much, Jane. So if people want to join in One Day One Choir, then they go to the One Day One Choir website, and anything you'd like to suggest or anything you'd like to, is there a way that you'd like people to be involved specifically?
I mean, what we would like is just that people join in, that they sing, that they raise their voices on Peace Day. It's a Saturday this year, so it's easy within their community. It can be part of something else they're doing, or it could just be one simple song. It could be in a care home, it could be in a cathedral, it could be in a community space, in a library, in the street. It doesn't matter where it is. You can put on a concert, or you can sing something simple, but just raise your voices for peace and think about what peace means to you personally, locally and globally, and maybe take some actions on it throughout the year. But also, we'd love you to sign up on the website and say you're joining in so that we can put you on the map.
Oh, it's so inspirational, Jane. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for chatting with me today.
Lovely. Really nice to chat with you, Tessa.
Join me next time for the final episode of this series focusing on music and travel.